Good morning. Hi. I love that there's already a few of you here. Thank you for being here. Today we're talking about the difference between ambition and resolve. Um, to look at this, we're going to use chapter 3 of the Tao Te Ching, and the text of chapter 3 is in the description. So if you don't have it in the email that I sent earlier this morning as a reference, you can also just look in the description to read along. If you have any questions or comments throughout this live, please do use the chat. I can't see who's here. I can see there's a few people that have joined me, but I don't know who's here unless you write a comment or say hello. I don't know that who's here. And more importantly, I don't know what you're thinking. So, as I always say, don't believe a word I say. Really don't. That's not the point. The point of all of the work I do is to really hear yourself, be aware of yourself, to trust yourself, not to trust the Tao or any other text. We use these things as tools to look at ourselves, but this isn't right. It's not wrong. It's not right. It's a tool. Me too, right? Don't believe me or trust me. So your thoughts, your comments, your insights, your questions are very, very welcome. During the live, you must be a subscriber, but you could subscribe right now to make a comment or question. But if you're watching this on the replay, anyone can write a comment or question, and I'd love if you do. I'll try to answer everyone. So we're going to start with the middle stanza of chapter 3. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think they know. This is the description of the master and how the master leads. Just a quick note, and Stephen Mitchell actually puts this in his foreword to the text. The Chinese language that this is translated from, there is no gender in the language. So he added that afterwards. How he does it specifically is every other chapter he switches from female to male. So I encourage you, if you have your own version of this, well, let me step back. You are the master. Whenever you see the words the master in the Tao, it is referring to you. The only difference between a master and anyone else is the realization that you're the master. You're the potter. You are it. And the great realization of the master is not just that they're it now, that they've come to some realization, but they realize that they've always been it. Right? You are it. Whether you know it or not, you are the master right now. The easiest analogy I can give to this is the sun. It's really cloudy and gray in New York right now. Doesn't mean the sun's not there just because I can't see it, just because I can't realize it. In the pitch black of night, when it seems like there absolutely is no sun, the sun is there. The same with the master, same with yourself. The original master, it says at some point in the text, the original master is always present. Actually, no, I lied. That's a line out of the poem that we studied the last few weeks. For the Song of the Grassroot Hermitage, there's a line in there. The original master is always present. I think we actually spoke about that in last week's class. So that's in the live from the week prior. So the master is you. Being awake to the fact of that you're the master has been the work of much of my life, much less for everyone else, right? To realize that at all times we are always the master. And the key word there is realize. Another word for realize is aware, to be aware that you are. And that's ultimately what all of this stuff is pointing to, is awareness. Awareness. So the master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores. right? What is the practice? What is the work? The lower belly breath. I talk about it's not the head, it's not the heart, it's the hips. If you've watched any of my instructional videos on how to meditate, I'll always say it's a physical practice, not a mental one. And that physical practice is physical stillness. You still the body, not the mind, right? You still the body, not the mind. Think about that. It's physical, not mental, right? And then from there, it's a lower belly breath that we develop, much like a singer, an actor, a trumpet player. Their powerhouse is the lower belly. It's where their gravitas is. It's where everyone's gravitas is. And it's a muscle anyone can develop. And it's literally a muscle. It's the transverse abdominis muscle that we're developing. It starts from the lower lumbar spine and wraps all the way around. So it's really all of your core in all directions. Right? So the master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores. It's a physical practice. The master leads by being in his body, by being embodied, by being aware. Right? Remember, the only difference between the master and the non-master is the awareness of being the master, of just being. And then this is the keywords that we're talking about today, ambition and resolve, in the next two lines. By weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. So what's the difference between ambition and resolve? It's the tense. Ambition is future-minded. I have an ambition to run 5 miles. I don't. I'd love to. I have knee issues. It's not going to happen for me. Maybe it will if there's some, I don't know. Not never, but for me, whatever. But I'd love to have the ambition to run 5 miles. But I have the resolve to be here and now and know that that's not the right thing to do for my body. I can go for a fast-paced walk, do other things, go on the elliptical. I have the ambition to be there, is future-minded. I have the resolve to be here, is now. Ambition is in the mind. Resolve is in the body. Ambition is an idea. Resolve is an action. He weakens your dependence on the thinking mind and toughens your resolve to be embodied in your gravitas, in your grace, in your integrity. This is how the master leads. How does he do that? Emptying the mind, filling the core. Comes back again and again to the practice, right? And if you want to practice, I have a free class every Thursday. You can go to my website to sign up if you don't already have the email. Free practice on Zoom every day. It's I didn't put. I'll actually I'll edit later. I forgot to put my website in the description below. If you just somehow randomly found me on YouTube, it's north-scale.com, and it says free meditation class. You can just sign up there, and you'll get the Zoom link. The Zoom link hasn't changed in years, so unless Zoom makes me change it, it'll be the same Zoom link. And Thursday at the same time as this class, 11:40 to 12, we practice filling our core, resolving to stay here and here and here. That here's gone here. Here. Everything else is gone here. It's never further than a breath away. You literally have an anchor to the present moment underneath your nose for your entire physical existence in this body, in this form. It's never further than a breath away. That's why the practice is key. Because all this talking is lovely, but it's the equivalent of talking about push-ups. Does nothing for your upper body strength. Will do nothing to help you if you fall out of a boat and are flailing in the water to pull yourself out. You must do the push-ups and the pull-ups prior to have the physical strength to pull yourself up. In the same way, you must do the sitting, the practicing being present and embodied now in order to have the mental resilience to stay grounded in your embodiment and your gravitas when the inevitable falling into the oceans of life happens. It doesn't mean you don't fall in. It means you have the muscle memory to resolve to stay in the now. And that now might feel angry or sad or scared or happy or excited. but you resolve to stay here. And a very interesting thing happens when you resolve to stay here. You become acutely aware that here is constantly moving. When I resolve to stay here, I realize so clearly how nothing is static. How my anger moves into sorrow, moves into boredom, moves into pain, moves into presence, moves into elation, moves into hunger, moves into sleepiness, moves into joy. Never ends. Right? This is living, which is the whole point, to live. Right? We practice being alive. The master is the master at just being alive, being aware of their life. No right or wrong to get entrapped by, just this. And the cool thing is that as they stay in the now, as you stay in the now, you, the master, as I, the master, stay in the now, whatever arises out of me is right in the fact that it's in my actual integrity. Whether the outside world sees it as right or wrong, or a success or a failure, when I'm acting from here, from my belly, from my core, I'm at peace with my action. And ultimately, that's all that matters. If I'm acting from my heart, from my fears or desires, often I will act in a way that I don't like because it's out of my integrity. I'm acting out of fear or desire. If I'm stuck in my head and it's ideas of right or wrong or success or failure, I'll often act in a way I don't like because I'll feel that I'm out of my integrity. Yeah. That's why this practice is so incredibly powerful. And it's just the practice of here and now. So the master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, weakening their ambition to be somewhere else or something else. Get out of that, because you're delusioned at that point. You've left now. You've left your body. You've self-abandoned when you're in ambition. And toughening their resolve to stay here, to act in and from the now. He helps people. How does he help people? He helps people lose everything they know. Go beyond the limits of your thinking mind is what he's helping you to do, what she's helping you to do. Can you go beyond the limits of your assumptions? Because we've all, every one of us, has had the stark experiences of realizing we are wrong. And those moments can be both opening and horrifying. I was wrong. Right? This could be losing the opportunity to invest in a unicorn, like as some of the investors in Airbnb back in the day once did, right? I missed that unicorn. I was in my thinking mind, right? Don't know. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. And act from that not knowing. And somehow, weirdly, that comes out to be right. And if you then find, I was actually acting out of fear or desire or right or wrong, it'll be clear and you can self-correct to come back into your integrity. Integrity is never more than a breath away. So the master is helping people lose what they know, to go beyond the limits of what they think they know, to lose everything they desire. Because if you look closely enough, your knowledge and your desires are actually your limits. Think about it. Don't believe me. Question it. Look at it. Analyze it. Your desires are your limits because you're stuck in a paradigm of what you think you want or need. Now, there's a caveat here. If you can trust what you want without being possessed by what you want, you can use your want. And your wants can often be a beautiful guide to your true humanity and embodiment. It's when we're attached to our wants, when we're driven by our wants, when we're used by our wants, when we're attached to our fears, driven by our fears, used by our fears, that we act out of our own integrity and then we suffer. If you can see your fears and desires and use them, ooh, this is terrifying to me. I have to slow down and use caution. I have to be a little curious. Well, now I can use the fear. You know what? This isn't safe. Or, ooh, this is totally safe, but I'm putting an old paradigm from an old time it wasn't safe on a new situation. Interesting. So the real utility here is, are you used by your fears and desires, by your ideas of right and wrong and success or failure? Are you used by them? Or can you use them? And the trick to using them is just awareness. That's what the master is. They're aware. It always comes back to awareness. And that's a physical practice. Take a breath right now. Exhale. Feel how you immediately become a little more embodied. Now, take a breath. Become still. In the stillness, your awareness expands a little more. Because when you're still, you can hear, see, feel, touch, taste the movement. If you can hear the movement of my radiator, I apologize for the loud clanky noise it makes. I'm very happy that the heat is coming on now. Sometimes it gets very cold in here. You notice the movement. Awareness brings you into the movement of your existence, right? And then you can move with the desires as opposed to being moved by them. The master helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think they know, because we don't know. If you think you know, you are, as another master says, mountains and rivers away from it. Far away. The second we're stuck in knowledge, we are limited. We are blocked. Right? Can you go beyond the limits of your knowledge? Yeah, you can. It just takes a breath. As I learned the hard way years ago, you can't know not knowing. Remember, I was on an extended silent retreat once, and I was dealing with a koan, a teaching on which was essentially about not knowing. And I was really frustrated. I was like, I could tell I was really gripped by my own knowing. I really had this hubris of I know, and I knew it was in my way. I was very conscious and aware that my own knowledge had become the actual source of my suffering and my block. And so I was fighting with what I knew. And I was really frustrated, and I was really working on this. And at one point, my teacher goes, "Are you trying to know not knowing?" Listen to that. Are you trying to know not knowing? I was like, oh my God. Yes, I'm absolutely trying to know, to grasp, to get, not knowing. Knowing is just grasping. It's that grip. And that's the fist, right? Open your hands and walk innocent, open, receive. If I know I'm gripped, I'm solid, I'm going to dig in and fight for what I believe and know. Ouch. Who am I fighting? I'm only fighting myself. Because remember, from the perspective of any mystical tradition and now science, you are the whole thing. So what you fight in someone else, you're fighting in yourself. There is actually no separation. That's the limits of our perception that say that we're separate. Yikes. Yeah, this is fascinating. This is how we begin to really open, is just to open the, oh, look at how big this is. Right? So the gripping of my knowledge prevents me from opening up and receiving the more that is beyond what I can think or desire or experience. Right? The more open I am, the more I experience, the more I feel, see, touch, taste, live. Again, the whole point of everything I do is to live. It's a work in progress for me too. And as I say, don't believe me. Oh, but just pause. I don't know if you can hear. So that I know that you guys can probably hear the kids. There's a church across the street that has a school. And so the kids are at recess. They come out. But at noon, the bells start ringing, which is just lovely. The master helps by helping people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creating confusion. Who knew that when you're in a place of confusion is when you're the master? Play with that. Think about it. Don't take my word for it. So those are my thoughts for today. Would love any questions, insights, other perspectives. Would love if you want to share. In the meantime, I'm going to give you guys a preview for next week's class for you guys that are here. And next week, we're going to look at the first stanza. If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. Now, we all do this in different ways. Again, this is about, are you used by something or can you use it? Right. So my question for you to look inside, to get contemplative, to get curious about yourself with, is what are the things that you overesteem? Because those are the things that if you're not aware of it, you don't have to get rid of these things. But just what are the things I overesteem? Because the things I overesteem are the things I then become powerless to. Do I overesteem independence? Do I overesteem impact? Do I overesteem intelligence? Do I overesteem love? Do I overesteem beauty? Do I overesteem kindness? Do I overesteem honesty? Do I overesteem influence? I don't know. There's 1,000. Do I overesteem adventure? Do I overesteem connection? I don't know. I'm making these things up right now. But the question for you is, what are the things that what are your top 3 is what I ask people to find. Because usually there's about 9 different general categories that most things can fall into. What are your top 3? And we all have all of them. We all have all of them. But what are your top 3? With only the sole purpose not to judge them and not even to get rid of them, but just to be aware of them. Because remember, the master is aware. What makes the master is awareness. So if I can be aware that I am getting caught in something can be powerless to, then I can reclaim my power by just being aware. The power is just in the awareness, right? I can tell you for me, the things that I realize, and what's really interesting is that as you become aware of them, they do shift. The things that I had originally overesteemed and overvalued that really had a grip on my life were love, perfection, and impact. Impact could also be service or like doing the right thing, changing, fixing, solving, making the world better. I had multiple masters in that field. Invested more than a mortgage in really honing skills to be able to have an impact and love the world and all these things. Until I realized that those were the things I was powerless to. And the other side of this, the other 2 lines, if you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. If I overvalue love, I begin to steal for love. If I overvalue impact, I will steal to have impact. I might not be actually stealing, but in my own way. You get the nuance here. So the work is really just to be aware. What are the things that you overesteem and overvalue? Just your top 3. I.e., what are the things that you're powerless to? What are the things that you would steal for? Again, not to get rid of these things, just to be aware of them. I love practice not doing and everything will fall into place. It is so hard to do, but so much easier if I do it. You nailed it. And so that whole stanza is what 3 weeks from now we'll work on, because I come back to that stanza all the time, and I'm going to give you the spoiler on that. It says practice not doing and everything will fall into place. It doesn't say perfect it. It doesn't say you need to perfect not doing for everything to fall into place. You just need to practice it. And as I say again and again in the example of playing a piano piece, I've never played the piano. I can barely do chopsticks, so it's a great analogy because I have no experience here. I'm not referencing myself by any means here. But, if you're practicing playing a song on the piano and you get it perfect, doesn't matter. It was practice. If you're practicing playing the piano and you mess up some notes, doesn't matter. It was practice. There's no right or wrong. It's just the act of practicing that's important, right? And then the more you practice, the notes just flow through you. And if you happen to hit a wrong one, it actually can become part of the song because you can move with it. You can use everything. This is that you can use it as opposed to it using you. So you practice not doing. You don't have to get it right. And you can change, you can also use practice not knowing, and everything will fall into place. Practice confusion. Thank you for your comment and your thoughts. Last note on that. It's so hard to do, but so much easier if I do it. And this is the awareness. Just be aware of your choice of the word hard. Maybe it is hard, maybe it's not. Check it out. Can you go to the place where there is no hard? Hard is an idea. See, we can have so much fun with this stuff. You can pick apart everything. And sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes just being aware, I feel this is really hard. That awareness lets it go. Oh, actually, it's not hard anymore because I acknowledge that it feels hard. Or is this a story that I'm putting on top of it? And actually, it's not hard or easy. It just is. It's just a practice. Check it out. Check it out. Really, really investigate these things. Don't believe me. Check it out. So grateful for you all being here. I really hope to see everyone that's here on Thursday when we actually do the practice. Because again, this is talking about push-ups. It's going to do nothing for your actual resilience, strength, resolve until you actually sit and practice. And we do that together every Thursday at 11:40 on Zoom. If you got my email today, if you're on my mailing list, you get that Zoom link every week, and it's the same Zoom link. If you need it, north-scale.com. And see you on the mat. And I'm sitting with you between now and then too. Thank you, guys. See you next week. Or see you Thursday. Super grateful for everyone who's here. Oh, thank you. So good. Thank you, Lisa. Really grateful for everyone. Have a great couple of days. I hope to see you on Thursday, if not next week here. Ciao.